Hey, bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. Something a little different today. My friends at the bike charity are loading up a container load of bikes to send to Africa today. So I've got my charity bikes here. These are bikes that people drop off and the ones that I choose to not work on for one reason or another. And I always haul them off to the charity and let them do whatever they want with them. I'm gonna throw these in the van. We're gonna drive into town and go say hi to those folks and see how they're doing loading up the container. It's always a fun little party at Bikes for Kids, Wisconsin. So I'll take you along for the ride today. Let's fire this puppy up and hit the road. All right, well, I just got here and we've got the boys from Working Bikes here in Chicago. They kind of organize the containers. Looks like they're gonna haul away some drop bar road bikes, take those back to Chicago. Looks like we're setting kids' bikes out here. Bikes, 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 bikes. Free bikes everywhere. This is the container. These look like the rejects. Not sure what qualifies. We'll go figure it out. I mean, clearly these are pretty roached. So, you know, you don't want to give people things that they can't use. Let's go inside and see what's up. For those of you that don't know, this is Bikes for Kids Wisconsin. Used to be Free Bikes for Kids Madison. And I actually started this thing 7 years ago. So a lot of these bikes in here are for sale. There's some nice ones. These are some nicer road bikes. There's a pretty kick-ass tri-bike there. Here's a rock hopper drop bar conversion. Some mountain bikes. Here's a Peugeot that's been converted. They're selling for $675. You know, some interesting stuff. I don't know what's all for sale, but they sell a lot of these. And so some of the bikes you see on the channel I've gotten from here, but just tons and tons and tons and tons of bikes. A lot of them are given away.
I didn't sign a waiver.
Holy shit, you guys are almost full already.
Showed up at the right time.
I'm going to throw the wheel off this with the brakes.
Yeah, these are all the kids' bikes. These will all be given away, mostly in the spring. A lot of these look like they're already cleaned and fixed up, so these are all totally rideable, ready to just be given to kids and families. A bunch of drop bar road bikes. Things are pretty well organized in here. Lots of bike hooks. It's looking good. They've been hard at work since I've been here last. Hey, I'm here with Kristi, the executive director of Bikes for Kids Wisconsin, and we're watching the guys load the container over here. So tell us what we're doing today.
Yeah, isn't this so cool? This is a great collaboration with Bikes for Kids Wisconsin, Working Bikes out of Chicago, Wheels
Trevor
for
with
Winners.
Working Bikes here.
Yeah, Trevor, nice, awesome work.
Thank you, Kristi.
So with Trevor's help, we have collected a lot of bikes, and we're any idea how many are in the container?
Haven't done it yet. I
Okay.
think 520.
Sweet.
We're getting towards the end.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And this is going to Zomba, Malawi. And you said this is a pretty big city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rural, a university town, we heard from one of your volunteers.
Yeah.
But this is going to take anywhere from 2 months to 3 months. It's going to go down to Chicago, going to hit the rail line, go out to the East Coast, and then go on a container ship over to Mozambique, and then travel in a mixture of rail and trucks to finally get to Malawi. And over there, AFRICYCLE is the organization we work with, and they are amazing. They're a bike shop themselves. So you can see what we're sending. We're sending raw materials, so they're going to put in the labor, they're going to put the parts on it. We pack some used parts in there, they can source some new parts, and they turn all these bikes that could have gone to scrap here into tools of transportation. So they fix them up and sell them for an average of $70, but they help people with financing, and they've found that every month somebody has a bike, they save about $20 in not paying for taxis and minibuses. So it pays for itself pretty quickly, and then it'll last far, far longer.
And one of the things you said that was really cool was he was talking about, I asked him how will people use the bikes? So some of the kids will use it to get to school. They're walking 4 to 5 miles to get to school. But also they're entrepreneurs. And some of these guys are having, and probably women, having businesses off the backs of their bikes.
Literally.
So I just
it's
love
great.
that. Like, what an incredible vehicle, and it's economic mobility. And that's
Definitely,
one of the
yeah.
things I talk a lot about is we get a lot of people who don't understand that bikes are economic mobility. They just think that bikes are a recreational option.
Yeah,
You probably remember those days.
bicycles are toys and fixing them is a hobby.
Right. No, wrong. There's so much more than that. And granted, for some people that are affluent and have had their needs met, they are a recreational option, and that's wonderful. There's therapy. Think of how many things we've worked out in our heads on our
Definitely.
bikes. But for some people, they are a lifeline.
When I was up in Minneapolis doing free bikes up there, I met one of the partners with Bikes for Africa, and he was saying that he heard a story that one of the bikes went to a young mother who was having a problem with politics in her town, and she used her bike to go door to door and run for office, and then she won and was able to get on the council or whatever and make the changes that she wanted. It was all because of one of these bikes that was sent from one of their
That's great.
containers. So.
It's amazing. The stories we hear are incredible. Not just students and people starting businesses, but like it literally extends the range of healthcare workers. So when the pandemic was even raging through Africa, people were getting bikes off the container, fixing them up, and then going from village to village, spreading sanitation techniques, literal bleach on the back of bikes that were sent.
One of the awesome bonuses of this is like we can send these bikes unrepaired. And the crew at AFRICYCLE is repairing them and getting all that work done. So it takes an enormous amount of work off our shoulders because,
Well, and it's livelihoods for them. So about 20 people are employed at AFRICYCLE. They also support an orphanage over there, and it's a sustainable system because we're collecting the bikes here. People are kind enough to donate them, but AFRICYCLE will pay for most of the transportation. So when the bikes hit the ground, they get fixed up, they get sold. A portion that is retained to fund the next container. Hopefully we can keep doing this. And like you're saying, Kristi, this is a great outlet for the people who do want nicer things. Like they want to get the next cool bike. Wonderful, get it. But know that last bike can have a great home. If it's not around Madison, then we can send it to Africa.
And, one of the dirty facts is just a lot of these bikes probably would have been recycled scrap metal, and we're able to extend their life, by sending them off to a partner like AFRICYCLE. So kudos to you, AFRICYCLE, if you're listening.
And it probably will be. AFRICYCLE's awesome and puts together great videos. So africycle.org, and they have a whole Vimeo channel. So you can see, like, we took a shot of a couple of the bikes that we're packing today so we can track its progress to its end user, and then we'll see if AFRICYCLE can send that story back. And there are stories up online now, like 3-minute videos, really nicely done, including some treks, so they probably touched here, and now they're in use in Malawi.
Absolutely. I mean, so, if we talk about, so it's economic mobility, sustainability. It's just, empowerment and getting a woman elected, helping her get elected. I mean, all of those things. It's like a bike is so much more than just a bike. And it's just a message that needs to be heard. It's really important stuff.
Yeah, and to do tangible good here. So, it's hard work. We've been up since 5 coming from Chicago, and my back is going to be feeling this tomorrow. But all these bikes, this is going to be 500 bikes that not just go to 500 individuals, but probably 500 families. And there's a multiplier there, so a few people can use the same bike. And it's volunteers and staff here that made it happen.
So sometimes I think about the economic ripple of the work that we all do. And, there's no way to quantify that, right? Like, think about, we might have a bike in here that's a kid's bike, and maybe that's been passed down for like 3 kids, right, in a family, or more if someone else in the neighborhood got it, right? And then we're sending it off here, and imagine how long that will live on and how many lives that will touch.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not happy,
Yeah, I always like to talk about how far one potato can take you on a bicycle. It's like, that's all you really need is like a few calories. But then if you think about that one bike, like you were saying, I mean, it could have been passed down through 3 or 4 families here before it ends up on, this truck and ends up, 4 or 5 more families. It's still the same bike. They're extraordinarily durable products. And there's a bicycle surplus problem, is what I call it. And I don't think that there's an organization on earth that's as good as dealing with it as Working Bikes. And Bikes for Kids Wisconsin is, I always had that vision for Free Bikes Madison, and the fact that you guys are working together and partnering and mentoring one another.
It's a great partnership.
We partnered back in the day. You showing up with your trailer at Working Bikes. So.
We used to send, you guys wanted like 24-inch mountain bikes, I think, or something, and we had way too many of them. And then we wanted the 20-inch kids bikes, and you had way too many of those. So we just did this big swap of like 150 bikes each. And
still
it's
happy
always
to do that. And
it's great.
resources
And if we all just get involved on some level, we can rescue every single one of these bikes, or at least keep it out of the landfill, maybe change a life. I mean, it seems like hyperbolic, but it's true. It actually happens.
It really.
And these are the people that are making it happen.
And can you imagine if these bikes could talk? Oh, the stories they would tell, right? And I just saw Harvey loading up used helmets. So we can't give those away here, right? It's a safety liability. But I tell you, people. So I grew up on an island where you had to be very resourceful. You were isolated. You had nothing. So I'm a master jimmy rigger because of it. And I see that in places like Africa or all over the world. I mean, this is it's all just golden.
Yeah. Thank you guys for making it happen.
Yeah.
This is great. And see you again in the spring.
Okay.
Can we do this?
Good.
We're on about a twice-a-year schedule now, so it's working out great for us. Our partners really appreciate the bikes that come out of Madison, so thank you on behalf of them.
So how can people support either one of your organizations?
Yeah, for us, going to bikesforkidswi.org and donate. Donating financially is really key. We really don't struggle to get bikes. I think on Friday we had 40 bike donations come in. Today we had almost another 40 come in. So, it's the bikes are finding their way here because they're very difficult to dispose of, and so I think a financial donation really helps us. We're a very lean organization. We really could use that help just to make sure staff are being paid and we're able to cover our overhead. This is a lot of work to do this stuff. And,
Definitely.
And it does, I think a lot of people, the misconception is a bike rolls through the door, we basically shine it up and it goes out. The bikes we received today they were rough and they take a lot of work to repair. So we do need financial donations as well.
Absolutely. And for us, we're down in Chicago, so we're in the Little Village neighborhood. And we can use bikes, so we ship a lot off. We get about 13,000 bikes a year, and that still doesn't satisfy the demand for our existing partners. So happy to bring more in. We love volunteers. We have a great volunteer program. It's at workingbikes.org/volunteer, and need people to come in and wrench. So we donate bikes locally, and we would donate a lot more if we had more wrenches on hand.
You both selling service bikes too?
Absolutely, yeah. Our service department is more of a community service, so we help people who can't afford other shops and people in our immediate geography, but we love to sell bikes too. So we're, I think, widely known as the best place for an affordable used bike in Chicago.
That's awesome.
Average about $270, $280. And we have some high-end stuff too.
Excellent.
And that's what most of our income comes from. So
Yeah.
that's how we stay sustainable.
And you know, we followed your lead on that because we really needed a revenue stream that we could rely on. And we get a lot of, like, we've got a tri-bike over here. We've got a $10,000 race mountain bike,
Isn't that
you know.
amazing?
And it's, people don't think to come here for those bikes.
Right.
But they're here, they're available.
Yeah.
And it's another way we can create access is by selling these bikes at low cost. So,
Very cool. Yeah,
It's
and
really
the people
helping
who,
us get there.
who donate those high-end bikes is, I love that because we know they could get sometimes thousands for those, but they know that
Absolutely.
we could use those bikes also and bring in money to our organization,
Yeah.
and they're kind enough to make that donation.
And I always tell them, you know, when you're donating this bike, you know, even though it's not something we would give away as to a recipient, this is going to provide potentially 6 bikes to 6 people, you know, and touch those lives. So it's huge.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah, thank you,
Andy. Thanks, Bike Farmer.
Thanks, everybody.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh, speaking of lean operation right there. That's Harvey. He's a terrible bowler.
Terrible bowler. Excellent human being.
He's about a 5 handicap. 506 total bikes.
Bunch of tires.
And a bunch of
These
tires.
are from the Divvy bike share system.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
In Chicago, yeah. Divvy rotates these out on a scheduled basis and look like a nail puncture, and they're great tires, and they'd put them in the trash if we didn't take them. And our partners love them because we're getting like $250 a month.
Yeah, Schwalbe Marathon
Marathons.
Plus. I mean, the toughest tires out there.
Exactly.
I think that strap's good enough. Just let her roll. Well, I guess that's it. 506 bikes off to Africa. That is good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Please, don't worry about giving me anything on this video. Give to the organizations that are doing the real work. This is bicycles. It brings the whole world together, literally changing lives. These are people doing the good work. Nobody's getting rich doing this. So help them out. Thank you so much. See you next time.